We're live. We are live. I am late again. I cannot believe it. But thank you guys for being here. My MacBook charger broke. It's not important. I won't even explain it. So, welcome back to Skoolie Support number 12, believe it or not. Is this thing dirty? Val and I just came back from our first date since well before River was born, and she is 16 months old. And as you know, we are back in our house. Um, I made this live about basically, moving out of the bus, moving back into our home because on YouTube it takes a while to get the message out. Val and I did a live like this together back in the day, and yeah, about moving into our home, and I just released the video. So basically, if you missed it, there's really one major reason that we came back to our home and we ended bus life and we moved out of our bus. And that was that Nova, our oldest daughter, who just turned 5 in August, is she's ready for school. And she's been in school now for about 2 months and she's just really excelling at it. And today I picked up pizza for the two of them, Nova and River, and my sister-in-law, Corinne, who's babysitting for us. And we went into the restaurant and one of her classmates was there, Violet. And I was like, little Nova is bumping into people that she knows, which I think is like really something that she wants. She socially just wants a lot of friendships. So that was the main reason for it. And, and I know it's probably still a surprise to some of you guys, but let me just check in with the chat real quick. Yes, Kathy, we moved out of our bus. And Eric, I'm sad too that we moved out of our bus as well. Bart, welcome. I'm glad to see that you're already a mod. Good thing that keeps going. Mike, welcome. Kelson J, thanks so much for sending people our way. I hope your live was fun. I'm really sorry that I missed it. Eric is dabbing in the chat. That's very cool. Hot Soakers, welcome. This is the first time I think I've seen you here. Us Plus a Bus are, man, you guys, Us Plus a Bus is here. That's super rad. I've watched some of your shorts, and you guys know what you're doing with these shorts. They are so good. So good. Connie, welcome. All right, I'm here. Chuck, I'm here, Chuck. Chuck's a mod too. That's so cool. Welcome back, Southern Rebel. You are my totally most OG subscriber ever. Hello, Alyssa. I'm sorry, I guess it's taken a while for me to check up on the chat. Nova is very, very articulate. Yeah, can I just do like a dorky dad thing real quick? Nova did our first standardized testing, and I don't even think we should call it that. I think it was very simple. I believe she sat down with a teacher and they tested her reading and her math skills. And obviously, this is all just her living with us at home. And I will attribute this mostly to television and maybe us asking her questions and taking interest in her education. But really, it's mostly television, believe it or not. And she scored an 84% in reading, which is not something we really focused on. And she scored in the top 84th percentile, and she scored in the top 99th percentile for math, which is just mind-boggling. So Nova's definitely having fun at school. I could do a whole live about Nova in school, but I'm not sure you guys would enjoy it. Melissa, welcome. It's a hard decision, but yeah, for Nova, it's best. So Us Plus a Bus has a daughter turning 5 in April. You guys will, if you guys are hitting the road in your bus, which I know you're working on, we thought we would have till age 6 or 7 easily to, before we would feel inclined to put Nova in school, and it could go much longer. I really think it depends on the child. Appleseed on the Road, welcome to your first live, your first Skoolie Support. Chris is sorry to hear that we've moved out of our bus. Me too. Yeah, me too. But we've also been in our bus for 3 years, which for me is not quite long enough. I was hoping for like 4 or 5, but it's also just long enough. And I would say about half of that was full time or part time travel. And some of that was living stationary. And I think it was really cool to live stationary in our bus for a little bit of time just to really get comfortable in the bus before hitting the road because full time travel is pretty challenging. So I got to pop in chat right now, which is fun. And I have a question from Jeff. Have you ever thought about going out and building buses for people? Jeff, I think about that often. I really do because I I think like my number one if you watch my YouTube videos, my number one aspiration is to inspire people to chase their dreams. And your dreams come from other people. You're like, I saw that person doing that and that was fantastic and I want to do it too. And sometimes it comes from your internal compass. And I've been inspired by other Skoolie peers of mine to do this as well. And so helping people do that is something I'm really into. And you can only do so much, you know, with videos, phone calls, live streams. And I loved building out Katie and Sam's bus. The problem for me is that it's it's um it's like a 600 to 1,000 hour endeavor. And if I were to put what I think is a reasonable price on my time and multiply it by 1,000 hours, I would be embarrassed to charge that much for bus conversion. On top of that, the material costs are very high. And I strongly believe like my approach to this lifestyle is you take your skill set and your ingenuity and you bootstrap it and you figure out how to do it yourself. And I'm really into self-built schoolies. Um, and doing it professionally, we've got Charlie in the chat here who's done this professionally for 10 years. It's extremely challenging. And to put a bus, to make a, like to do a bus conversion for somebody else for less than $100,000, you really have to do it in a field with no resources and no expenses, and or devalue yourself and your time. So I'd love to build buses out for people. And I think maybe I'll figure out a way to do that. But at the moment, I haven't figured out how to do that yet. Maybe if it was only low budget builds with salvage materials and there was help from the people who were going to live in the bus all the time. Like if I had like 400 hours of labor and I could add in my 400 myself, it might be different. I think I'd spent enough time on that question, but it's an important question. Welcome back, Hope Bus. Welcome back, Pat. Chris Kirby asks, "Are you going to be selling the bus?" I'm going to catch up with the chat, and I want to answer that question for sure. But I just want to make sure I don't miss anything here. I might talk about that later. Charlie mentions I could drive around being a mobile therapist or life coach. That would, therapist is not the word, but life coach. I would love that. But I want to just do that here. Can I just do that from my computer? That would be easier. Maybe I'll come to you in person if you need it. I want to drive around though. It's so conflicting. Like I'm so privileged to be able to have a house, make something of a living online, have a bus, have a supportive family, a supportive wife. Like I'm just so lucky. Melissa has always wanted to build out a bus and make it her own. She loves the windows. She wouldn't change the windows. I like bus windows too. I think some of them should go, ideally, but I love bus windows. Kelson J is doing low budget builds. That's fair. And they're having fun. I feel like when you go low budget builds, like Can you stay there forever? Like, I hope you can. Okay, so I'm gonna answer. Who was it? Jeff's? No, it wasn't Jeff. Chris. No, it wasn't Chris. Who asked if I was gonna sell the bus? Chris asked, am I gonna sell the bus? Okay, so I think first of all, I'm a really nostalgic person who gets attached to material items, and in my mind I've created this really powerful identity for Gilligan Phantom. He's a bus that spent 30 years transporting kids through Northern California, and then he really took care of our family and really never broke down, and I put, my heart and soul into that bus. And so I really don't want to sell it. It's in our driveway. It's not ready to be sold. It's not listed or anything like that. I have a couple angles. Obviously, I can't just let it sit there. I'm not wealthy enough to just have that much bus in my driveway. And full disclosure, my next door neighbor, this is like out of left field, but my next door neighbor is getting a fence put up, and he did a survey and he realized that my fence is on his property. And the reasons for that are there's a drainage ditch running through our properties, and you can't put a fence post on a drainage ditch. It's not a ditch, it's a culvert, it's a cement cylinder. So you can't put the fence post directly on the cement cylinder because you couldn't put it in the ground. There's a cement cylinder there. So you can either go on his side of the property or my side of the property. And if you both do that, then you both have to have fences, and you give up 2 feet of space between the houses. So back in the day, there was clearly an agreement between the owner of this house and the owner of his house to just let this house put their fence on that side, because this is the side of the house that has access. Like, his house is just an alley, and his driveway is on the other side, and on my side is the driveway. Anyways, long story short, he somehow feels the need to rip down my fence and put his fence up there, because I'm not sure. I'm just going to go ahead and say that he's an insecure person. But in the meantime, it's displacing the bus. I'm going to have to basically put the bus partially in the driveway. Anyways, long story short, keeping the bus where it is a little bit complicated. It's expensive. And so I could do 3 things. I could sell the bus. I don't want to do it. I probably should do it. I might do it. I could do 4 things. Thing number 2 is I could rent the bus out on Outdoorsy. I could let people rent it for a couple days. I could bring it to the county park for them, set it up. I've got a great setup to do that. I just think it would cost, for it being worth my time, it would cost because that campground's expensive, it would cost like $150, $160 a night to do that. And at that point, you can just almost rent a hotel room. So I don't know if that would work out. Option number 2 is I could make an Airbnb with it, but we can't do that here because our county basically crushed Airbnbs for reasons I won't get into. So I would have to operate that elsewhere. I do actually have some angles for that. I could do that, but I strongly believe that Gilligan belongs on the road, and I would prefer him out there taking care of a family or a couple. Which brings me to option number 4, which is I could rent it to somebody for like a 3 or 6 month trip. But I don't know, it would have to be a lot of money for me to take on that risk, because I still own it. If it breaks down, things on a bus are expensive. So those are the 4 options, and the smartest thing to do is sell it. But that's my explanation. That's a long-winded answer to your question, because I don't want to sell it, but there's a lot of things you could do with the bus. So Charlie asks, what is a reasonable budget for building out a short bus yourself, not including the bus? Wow. So a long time ago, I would have said 30K. And that might still be the case. Now, my tastes have gotten kind of expensive. I like plywood. I like birch plywood. Birch plywood has gotten expensive. Let me see how much plywood that I feel like I can afford, which is formaldehyde free, which I like, is Pure Bond. They sell it at Home Depot. They sell it a couple other places. It's $83.78 for a 3/4 inch sheet. I used to buy that for $55. Wow, that's painful. I still think 30, probably. You're gonna have to cut a lot of corners. You're gonna have to kind of skimp out on the off-grid electrical system. And obviously that doesn't include your labor, which is worth money. But I think 30K for a short bus. Now, I think you could do it cheaper. You can cut a lot of corners and you can use inexpensive materials. You can use used materials. I think you can get that, honestly, if you want to, you can get it down to $5,000. It's not going to be nice, but you can get it to 15,000 if you are willing to be patient and buy only relatively used materials. But 30K, if I were to do it myself, I think I could do it for 30, but I bet I would end up spending more. Okay. Yeah, Charlie mentions I'm a sentimental materialist. Yeah, I really am. It's led me to not want to acquire things, which I think is a good thing, but it's also hard. And Val can throw away things easily, and she's inspired me, and I've gotten a little bit better over the years. Eric asks, "Are you giving the bus to the school?" No, the school has plenty of buses, and they already have no children on them because we all seem to somehow drive our kids to school for some reason. Nova's going to take the bus. I want Nova to take the bus now. Val thinks that she's young, and there's only like one or two other kids on the bus, and she doesn't want her to be alone. But when Val feels comfortable, I think Nova would take the bus. I think taking the bus to school is very cool. I did not do that. I grew up in inner city Philadelphia, and we did not take the bus to school. We took the SEPTA bus or a trolley at age 12, I think. Maybe 11. I was taking a trolley to school, and that was wild. Mingling with inner city Philadelphians at 7:30 in the morning. But I learned a lot from it, and I learned how to navigate the world, so that's pretty cool. Us Plus a Bus says $150 a night for a unique experience is worth it. You're right. You're right. I think I could probably get that. I should try because it would feel good to be able to show people my area, my bus, and I would be able to I would get to drive it to and from. But I do already wear a lot of hats and I do a lot of things. So is it a good idea? It's not a good idea. It's a fine idea. It would be fine. Appleseed on the Road loves the short-term rental bus idea. If somebody showed up, if you're in the chat right now and you were like, here's my family, this is our plan, we have this much money, we love your bus, we want to rent your bus, you can call me for help. If you get stuck, if you need help with anything, call me and I'll help you. But I can't do it for I feel like it would be too much money to make it worthwhile for you to rent it. But if you're into that, hit me up. It might be a possibility. Bart says GPS tracker on the bus and rent it out for people to use as weekend warrior style trip or week-long trips, $100 a day. Bart, you are right, but you need a classy license to drive this bus, and this bus has the longest wheelbase ever put on a school bus, and I would not trust anybody to drive it except for bus drivers. And you, of course, Bart, can drive it, but I can't do it. I can't let people drive my bus. I can't do it. But you can drive it, Bart. Melissa says the price of materials is crazy high. Yeah, it's tough when you get attached to a price and you're like, this is a lot. Like $55 birch plywood, I thought back in the day was a lot. And for it to be 85 now, I can't do it. I can't do it. Okay. Forgive me, guys. I'm checking up the chat. Hopa says, let go and make space for what's to come. You're so right. You're so right. I would like to. Do you guys know? I want to ask you a question. Do you guys know that I already bought a new rig? If you know me well, don't cheat and say what I bought in the chat. But if you know what I bought, drop it in the chat, because I already have a new travel rig for the family and we're already enjoying it, and we're taking it out. Oh my gosh, we're leaving tomorrow. We're taking it to the beach, 2 hours away tomorrow for a big trip, which is cool. Us Plus a Bus is $20,000 into their build, including the cost of the bus, and they think that they have another $10,000 to go, not including solar. You can probably do it, and depending on how hard you go with the solar, it can be, it can be cheap. But I remember being at the same stage as you and calling Chuck Cassidy, who I called often for advice, and saying like, "Hey, do you think I can do this with 35 grand?" And he said, "No, because the solar system is going to cost, like the solar system that you want to build is going to cost 12 to 15,000, and I think you can do it for 50." And he was right. I ended up doing it for 55. So when in doubt, ask Chuck Cassidy. Melissa mentions the biggest expenses on the solar setup. Yeah, if you're gonna go, I'm into robust solar systems that can power your whole life, and they cost $12,000. But I think they're getting cheaper, and they could be cheaper if you prioritize cheap. You can go cheaper. Bye, Eric. Good to see you. Hello, Ido from Pottstown. Man, this is the first time I have not been caught up with the chat. This is fun. Hope us love their boat. I want a boat someday. You guys sold the boat? You guys sold the boat and got a bus, probably. It's good to move on. You're totally right. Melissa says, I don't think renting the bus is a good idea. Not to drive around. Yeah, not to drive around. Chris Kirby asks, what do you do for a living, if you don't mind telling me? Chris, I have some small real estate investments. I went full-time YouTube like 5 days ago, and I do odd jobs on people's buses, and I do bus consulting. And I think this year I will be at a very sustainable income level with all those things. My wife doesn't work right now, so I'm a single earner, and I know what it takes for us to live, and I know what it takes for me to be comfortable. And I'm somewhere between where it takes to live and comfortable with income right now. And Chris, if you want ideas about what to do for a living, or like, I love talking about money. So if you have specific questions, I'm happy to answer. Melissa asks, why do you need a special license? Gilligan Phantom is over 26,000 pounds. In the state of South Carolina, you need a Class E license for 26,000 pounds plus. And in many other states, you need that as well. In some states, though, and including mine, if you have less than 26,000 pounds, you don't need a special license at all, which is cool. Regardless asks, will we see vlogs of the new rig? So I had a really tough time vlogging with the bus. I was always driving the bus. It was hard to capture. It's hard to fit a 40-foot bus in the frame in a lot of scenarios. And it was stressful for me to do family vlogging with what we had going on. And it was really hard for me to capture it myself as a driver. And I didn't feel like I could capture the journey, the lifestyle. But the truck camper, has anybody put what's in? Nobody has put I won't say what it is then, because nobody seems to know what it is. So the new thing that we have, you didn't just hear me say it. My wife can drive easily, and I can document it so easily. And I've already started making vlogs. I am about to drop a video. It's not a vlog, but the next one is going to be a vlog about picking up the thing that we got. And then we're going to test it out, and we're going to try products in it. And I do actually, because I just, like I said, I went full-time YouTube, I think I'm equipped to make vlogs for the first time ever. It's not going to be 100% of our videos, but I think we can make vlogs, which is cool. So Hope Us is giving me a pep talk about selling the bus. They say, you know what you want / need to do. It's just your ego making you feel you need to keep it. Clear space. No need to add stress. You are so right. And yes, it's totally my ego. And a good example of this is we got hit by Hurricane Ian. We didn't get hit by Hurricane Ian, but we got glanced by Hurricane Ian. Tropical storm by the time it glanced us. And we got a good bit of water surrounding our house. And surrounding our house was also Gilligan Phantom and our new rig. And I pulled Gilligan Phantom out of his parking spot and brought him onto the road because I was worried about him flooding. And it's just not, you're right, it's not a stress that I need. And there's a bunch of things to like fix. And you're so right. You're just right. Are you a psychologist? I think maybe you got some tricks up your sleeve. You understand people's emotions for sure. You're reading me like a book. Hope Us. Southern Rebel says, I hope you put vlogs on your new rig. If you guys want vlogs, I think I'm ready to do it. I think I can do it. So Us Plus a Bus says, we're very fortunate our store will be covered in other ways, but it's going to easily be nearly 20,000 in solar all around. Us Plus a Bus, if you're getting free stuff, which you guys probably are because you're crushing it on YouTube, you gotta tally that. You got it for free, but it still costs money. And so be sure at the end when you decide what your bus is worth, it's worth the material costs of what went into it and your labor to an extent. Yeah, Regardless mentions as someone who got a beefy solar setup designed by Chuck Cassidy, she can wholeheartedly say it was one of the best investments that she made. It's really worth it. It's worth it, big time. Us Plus a Bus wants Charlie to fly out to Florida and install their solar / electrical. Charlie, I feel like Charlie's busy. I'm sure he would love to. I'm not speaking for Charlie here, but I'm sure he would love to install your solar. But Crown and Style was in Florida. And if you are not aware, Crown and Style, Josh from Crown and Style, we toured their bus. He's doing good work. So you can, Chuck Cassidy is the best. Ben is the best. Chuck Cassidy is second best. And maybe Crown and Style is third. Who knows? It's a crazy world out there. I'm mostly messing around. Hope Us, you were right. My wife does work a 24-hour job. I do a lot of childcare too, though. I do a lot. So, but we both do a lot. We do. Appleseed on the Road is starting to shop mini splits. Is it worth it for a 33 SEER unit like a Mitsubishi, or stick with the 20 SEER and save $1,000? It's a slightly complicated question. I wish I knew exactly what 33 SEER would give you. You know what? I don't care about SEER. I want to know how many watts does it pull at startup. I want to know how many watts that unit uses. That's what matters to me. The SEER thing is something I'm not extremely familiar with. It's an HVAC term that HVAC people understand. because you can add these days, you can add like 200 amp hours of batteries for $1,000. So it's hard to say it would be worth it. There's a balance to strike there. Hey Jordan, the Wander Lodge guy, thank you for being here. Yeah. Oh, so Jordan just bought a Wander Lodge. That is freaking awesome. Jordan, so Jordan wants to know my thoughts on the Wander Lodge. The Wander Lodge, I have never been in one. I've seen photos. I've seen them in person. It's a motorhome built on a Bluebird school bus chassis, and it's built to, in my opinion, pretty exceptional standards. That's just from looking at them. I haven't lived in one. And I think that what you get for what a used Wander Lodge costs, Jordan, drop how much your Wander Lodge costs in the chat, if you don't mind, and how much you think it's going to take you to fix it up. If you're down for the Wander Lodge, I think you can save a lot of money just buying one, because you can buy them ready to go. They're fun. They're well built. They're big. It's basically a Skoolie built by Bluebird. So those are most of my thoughts. Kelson J liked my last vlog. So my last vlog was the end of bus life video. I'll get it for you guys. I'll drop it in the chat just in case you haven't seen it. I thought it was a really good video too. Thank you, by the way. It was a lot easier to make this video because I made it after the fact, and I put the story into my voiceover. All right, it's in the chat. And that was way more fun. If I can tell us, because the problem is when you're vlogging, you don't know what the story is. And if you're going to make a good YouTube video, there's an arc, there's a beginning, and then there's a problem, or there's a destination, or there's a conflict. And you've got to figure out how to resolve the conflict, and then move on as a person and as a character. And when you're trying to tackle that and you don't know what the conflict is, and you are responsible for your character, but you're not, you don't want, if you're a father or a spouse or husband or spouse, whatever, you don't want to go and try and dictate what your child's characters are, or your wife's character, or your husband's character is, and help them eloquently move through the conflict and create the story arch. It's not a good idea. It's not worth the effort. And what that means is that your vlog might just be like, some things are happening in a bus and on an adventure. And for some people, that's enough. But for the majority of viewers, the majority of people watching YouTube videos, it's not enough. So it's very hard to vlog. And some people can do it. Some people can do it alone. Some people can do it as a couple. I have not effectively seen a family do it long term. I know there's family vloggers out there, and they set up their whole life around, they plan an idea and they go get the things and they do the fun thing. But if you were living an organic lifestyle, like living in a bus and traveling, and you don't know what's going to happen today, then you definitely can't create an effective vlog about it. And if you have a good example of a family who's done that, let me know, because I haven't seen it long term. But being able to tell the story that happened in the past, in the future, that's a lot easier. And that's something that I did in the last video, and it was fun, and I could do it again. It was much better. But Kelsey, you've been trying to tell me that for years, and I should have listened. All right, let me check up. Charlie says he'll come to Florida to help with the solar install for Us Plus Bus. That's really nice of you, Charlie. Florida's really nice this time of year. Really nice. And I wanted to come to Florida for Christmas, but it's we have other plans. We were in Florida last year, so I think we want to do something else this year. But guys, I'm going to Skoolie Palooza along with, as far as I know, everybody from the gutted bus team. We're all going to be there. If you guys can get to Skoolie Palooza, I'm going to be there. Okay. Mark didn't see my vlog. Okay, Mark mentions, with the price of diesel, because that was part of my video, have you considered a battery-powered option? We do not have a battery-powered mobile dwelling on the market. And that means brand new from the factory. They're working on utility vans. They're working on trucks. As far as I know, none of them can carry what we would need in a full-time home. Can't be done yet. I think we'll figure it out someday. I think vans and trucks will figure it out first, like pickup trucks. Ben is here. Oh my gosh. So, no, sorry, Ben. Ben is the bus guru. And when you guys watch Gutted, hopefully you'll see it. If you're paying attention in Gutted when you watch that, you'll see. I'm sorry, Ben. I know you don't like this. I'm not going to cheese on you. All right, Us Plus a Bus wants Charlie's info. You guys will figure that out. Ben says Charlie taught him everything he knows. Okay, you guys probably learned. I don't know what's happening. All right, Charlie says a 33 SEER rating. Thanks. I'm so glad Charlie's here. Is 50% more efficient than a 20 SEER. Yeah, it's true. It's how many BTUs per watt you get. If it's only $1,000 more, it's worth it. Cool. I'm glad we got that answer. So get that Mitsubishi if the dimensions work. Journey, Julie, and Ernie asks, how long were you in the bus? So we started our bus conversion in November of 2017. And we worked really hard on it till summer of 2018. And then we took a couple months off for the summer. And then we effectively finished the bus conversion in 2018 and 19, but we did not install the inverter, the battery bank, and the shower. And then I took a little bit more time off. I think it wasn't until right before the pandemic that we finished the bus. But we were living in the bus, and we were renting out our home on Airbnb to get the last bit of money that we needed to finish the bus. So for 6 months in 2019, I believe, we lived in the bus in our side yard, and we had guests in the house, and we had pieces of the house like our extra room and our laundry room that were just ours, and the backyard was just ours. So that was our first 6 months in the bus. Then when the pandemic hit, when we felt it was okay to go, we took off and we spent 6 months traveling around pretty much the whole interior of the US, not the whole, but like we went to like Colorado, Arizona, New Mexico, Utah, and then we went to Washington State, and we went all the way down the Pacific coast. And then we decided to help our friends Katie and Sam build out a bus. And we drove from San Diego to St. Petersburg, Florida. And we spent the next 3 months building out their bus and living in the bus in the side yard of our rental property. So we were still in the bus, but we weren't traveling. When we were traveling, we got pregnant with River. We knew that we would have to get care at some point. So 3 months into the bus build, we moved to Philadelphia, where we got consistent prenatal care. And we were basically not in the bus for 3 months. Then we went to the Adirondacks and Maine and other places in the Northeast. And then we slowly traveled down the East Coast back to Florida in the bus, living full time, where we then lived for 3 more months in the bus, finishing Katie and Sam's bus conversion. And then we lived for 3 more months traveling full time, mostly around Florida. So just so you know, if you ask me questions, I seem to feel the need to give you a very thorough answer. and that didn't even tell you the final amount of time. But I kind of, in my mind, I say like we were basically living in the bus for 3 years, even though we had that 3-month break, and a period of time was, or a couple chunks of time were not moving in the bus. That's the cool thing about a 40-foot bus is like it can be a home stationary super easily, much more easily than driving it full time. All right, and because I answer questions so ridiculously thoroughly, I'm way behind. Charlie mentions that Wander Lodges are the only pre-built schoolie he'd ever buy. That tells you a lot. So Jordan, you should be pretty pumped about that. Okay. Yeah, Southern Rebel mentions that a lot of family vloggers start out and they stop doing vlogs. I could do a whole Skoolie Support on why family vlogging is a bad idea, but you guys probably wouldn't be interested in that. Jeff Kidd mentions, have you had any dealings with the EcoFlow Delta Pro systems, mainly to solar bus width? I think that the, not mentioning EcoFlow specifically, but the all-in-one solar generator packages they have just entered the realm of being able to power a bus, maybe. You have a lot of points of failure that are in one thing. Like in your solar generator, if the charge controller goes bad, the whole thing's wrecked. If your inverter goes bad, same deal. But from an inverter output standpoint, like we now have, I think that EcoFlow Delta Pro may be able to put out 3,000 watts from an inverter. That's good enough for me for bus. And I think they have like 6 to like 12 kilowatt hour battery banks. That's good enough for me. It's maybe still not what I'm going to do in a bus, but if you have a short bus, if you have a van, if you have a truck camper, and especially if you can build in a couple backup, if you can just make a contingency plan. If you buy the EcoFlow Pro Delta, like maybe you buy another smaller power bank or solar generator or whatever you want to call it as a backup. Like I think we're there, and I'm going to be making videos about that soon. So if you're thinking about it, Jeff, and you don't have like, you're not planning on building a huge battery bank and having 3,200 watts of solar on your roof, I think you should keep looking into it. I'm down. Jordan bought a 1982 front engine 33-foot Wander Lodge for $7,500. It's going to need $20K, and they can hit the road because it has all the basics. You, my friend, are a smart man, because that's a great way to start. I spent $7,500. I spent $7,000 for my 1987 Gilligan Phantom school bus, and it took us 2 years to get it on the road. Now we got to do everything to our standards, but I remember looking at Wander Lodges and saying like, "Ooh, I could have just done that. That would have been smarter." But smart is not everything. However, it is always smart. Oh, Kelsey loved the last video. Kelsey, if you loved that last video, I'm gonna make more videos for you. For sure. We're gonna make more vlogs. For sure. All right, I finally caught up with the chat. Hope Bus says it's hot tub time. Can you guys put a hot tub in your bus? And they say sell the bus. You're right. I should sell the bus. I should. So we are 44 minutes, and I got 50 people hanging out here, which is really cool. Skoolie Support is, I guess it's mostly me rambling and trying to keep up with the chat, but it's generally a Q&A, and it's sometimes a themed conversation to start out with. And hopefully it will be actually conversations with me and other bus builders and other people in the future. And that would be great, because it's a little, it's more fun to talk to somebody. It's also really fun to talk to you guys though. So just to be fair, but it's your opportunity to ask me questions about really any topic that intrigues you. And I like to talk about converting a bus, living the bus life, YouTube, finances. I'm down for pretty much whatever. I do personal one-on-one schoolie consulting if that's something that you need. For the right person, I can save you a bunch of time researching, basically. I spent probably hundreds of hours researching, and I enjoyed that. And I think at that time, it was a good ROI for me to just read and learn. I had free time back then, and I don't now. And now in this position, I would probably benefit from just asking somebody for help. So if you want that somebody to be me, you can sign up for Skoolie Support. It is a Patreon. It is $150 a month, but it's unlimited consulting. So you can text me at any hour. You can call me. We can help plan your bus. And for some people, it'll be worth it. For some people, not so much. And also, if you sign up and you want to cancel at any time, totally no big deal at all. I am here to give you more value than I can take from you. So SkoolieSupport.com, if that's something that you're interested, hit me up. And send me a message if you have questions. So if you have questions, I will always answer them. If you guys run out of questions, I will say au revoir. Jordan says the last video was great. Any interest in tackling a Wander Lodge solar conversion? Sure. If you're close to me in Charleston, South Carolina, I am relatively down to help you with solar. I'm actually doing a solar install on Sunday, and hopefully I'll finish it on Sunday. We're going to do 2,430 watts. Yeah. For a bus that hit the road with a battery bank, with an inverter, with everything, but they thought they were going to plug into campgrounds, and it turns out they want a boondock. So they're basically just missing solar power, solar panels, roof gland, charge controller, and attaching it to their battery bank. So the other day, I got 6 405 watt Jinko solar panels from a nearby distributor in Colombia, and they arrived yesterday on a pallet, completely free. I think they were, obviously the delivery was free. I think they were $250 a panel, which I thought was a fantastic price. And I got a charge controller, and I got all the solar cables, and everything's coming in the mail. So this is my first, besides doing my bus and Katie and Sam's bus, this is my first time doing it for somebody else. And this is my first time having sort of a deadline. I've basically said, I think I can do this in a day with your help, with my customers' help. And, maybe it takes slightly more than that. But anyways, long story short, if you're in South Carolina or Georgia or North Florida and you want to hit me up, I am down to do solar installs. I don't know if I'm down for full bus conversions, but I'm down for solar installs. Thor says, hello from Norway. hello from Norway. That's so cool, man. Seek Life Elsewhere says, thanks for all the great videos. You've helped me a ton in my build. Thanks so much for telling me that. It's very meaningful for me to hear and know that that I'm helping you with your bus, with my videos, because it's kind of a labor of love. So Tim asked, what kind of batteries do you use? I am a lithium iron phosphate fan. I wouldn't use anything else. I think that technology is affordable, powerful, and the only way to go. Traditionally, I've used the Lion Energy UT1300 because it has a 3,500 charge cycle warranty. And when I was taken off on the bus, I knew that I needed to be able to rely on my batteries, and I felt like I needed to be able to call an American company with a footprint in America and say, hey, your batteries didn't work and I'm stranded somewhere and I need you to help me. I need you to get me batteries right now. And because I was spending $6,000 on batteries or something like that, I just needed that. Now, it turns out the batteries work, and there's so many more people selling batteries now for so much cheaper. And I don't know I don't know. Maybe Charlie, you can drop your details about your server rack battery in the chat, because I don't currently have one that I think is worth the money. However, I can, if you want Lion Energy batteries, I can wholesale them to you cheap, significantly way cheaper than you will ever see them advertised online. So if you want that, send me an email, because obviously the wholesale price is a lot cheaper, and I can help you get them if you want those. But there's batteries now out there for much cheaper. Appleseed on the Road asks, any tips for getting the 50-cent watt panels? They contacted a local distributor, CET Greenwich. You probably meant Green Tech. They quoted $1 a watt. So if are you in Florida? Are you near Orlando? Let me this is who I got. I got it from CED West Columbia, and they're not quite 50 cents a watt, but they're almost. So they had these panels. Yeah, they're affiliated with CED Green Tech. So I don't know. That's my guy. I mean, my people. I like the thing that I do when I call. When I call, I say, you know, I want a close to 400 watt panel. Give me your best value. Like, I don't need the most efficient panel. I need a cheap one that's good. And I tell them, if you have commercial panels, which are they're 20 inches longer than normal panels. Normal panels are 60 by 40, and commercial panels are 80 by 40. I ask for those because they're cheaper. So that's what we got. I think that's probably how I got to 50 cents a watt. And maybe when you're calling their sales team, you're not saying that, but that's what I would say. I would say, hey, do you have any commercial panels? And I would also say, like, I'm putting these on a school bus, and I'm not a solar contractor, but I'm not like a citizen who's trying to buy solar panels, because they get all touchy about who they sell to, because they don't want normal people to know what solar panels cost. Because even when I called the sales team and I said, I'm ready to buy these 6 panels, and I'm about to put my client on the phone with you guys so that they can give you their credit card information, because I don't want to buy them. They said, is it okay if we tell them what the price is? And I'm like, yeah, I don't need to make a spread off of your solar panels. It's ridiculous. But, you know, it's the world we live in. Yeah, seek life elsewhere. If you're in Jacksonville for the next few months, I'm going to be pretty busy until February. I'm going to be quite busy until February. But if you can do February and you want to pop up here, I can definitely help you with your solar install. Charlie's dropping his favorite batteries in the chat, which is awesome. You guys should check those out. Javier is considering Tesla batteries. I don't think Tesla batteries are LiFePO 4. They're Tesla battery chemical makeup, chemical composition. Yeah, okay. They have lithium iron phosphate, which would be fine. They have nickel cobalt. Honestly, I have not gotten into these Tesla batteries. I think it's so easy to just buy something off the rack. I would just buy something pre-made. Sorry, Bart. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry I'm not utilizing my mods. I'm gonna get used to that, I swear. All right, if you're curious about the Tesla batteries, you gotta check out Chuck Cassie's dropping knowledge in the chat, which I always appreciate. Yeah, Jordan, don't tell solar distributors that you're a citizen. Say I'm a bus converter. They'll be like, oh, cool. We'll sell you panels. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So Appleseed on the Road. I'm glad that your salesperson at CED Green Tech was down. But yeah, ask for the commercial panels. Aaron, welcome, Aaron. How are you doing? Are you in Vermont just having a fantastic fall, watching the beautiful leaves turn? It's probably really nice. Aaron, don't you have a repurposed Tesla battery bank? Am I making that up? I think Aaron has Tesla batteries. Charlie says the cobalt nickel ones are the dangerous and picky and short-lived ones. Yeah, I guess I haven't looked into Tesla batteries since 2018 or 19. And when I read about them then, it was like, this might be a good idea, but it's probably not. So Aaron's got a bus. Aaron's got a 40-foot bus. Him and his family just stopped traveling. They settled down in Vermont, of all places, man. Vermont is just lovely. And they're Airbnb-ing their bus, which is sweet. Aaron, hit me up for Airbnb advice. I'll just tell you my Airbnb advice right now. All right. Step number one, hire a professional photographer. Pay them like $200 and make sure you have fantastic photos. Obviously, you're gonna have to get that bus set up to be good to go for guests, and then underprice it for, I don't know, like a month. Make sure that you're delivering like a fantastic value to your guests. They're gonna be so enthusiastic about it. They're gonna give you some great reviews. You can slowly bump that up to a price that you think is fair, and that's it, really. But fantastic photos and good copy. Like write. I know you know how to write. Just write something really exciting because you're selling you're selling an idea. You know, like you're selling a dream in your Airbnb. Just make sure that you think about that. I'm selling a dream, and not everybody is going to love the bus. People are going to be like, "Wow, this was not what I expected." But the dream lives on. It does. Hello, Vangapali from India. Welcome, man. Thanks for stopping by. Charlie's shop insurance will not let him do Tesla or Leaf batteries for clients. That seems fair. This seems fair. Tim Sal is looking into Jackery or Blue Eddy generators as a portable option. Don't have a bus or van build, but I'm looking. Is a hardwire system better than a portable system? A hardwired system is better than a portable system because you can pick and choose great components, and if any of them goes wrong, you can replace them. And like, let's just say your inverter goes bad, your charge controller will still charge your batteries, and you can still run DC power. If your charge controller goes bad, you can still use your inverter, and you could plug into shore power. With these solar generators, like it's not even a big deal. I think I would just have I would have a big one, and I think I would have a little one, and I can take the little one out of the van or the bus if I need it. It's only better. Like the portable one is only better if it's cost efficient, which I really think we're headed in that direction. And if you add up your labor and the time it takes you to learn how to use these things, and the materials and the fuses and the wires and the lugs and the tools, I'm into the generators. Like I'm like the Blue 80 AC 500. I'm into it. I'm getting something soon. You guys are gonna see something on my YouTube channel soon on this topic, because for my next application, and nobody has mentioned in the chat what my family has bought, so I'm still not going to say it. But for my next application, a portable power generator is tight. Is super tight. All right, guys, it is 59 minutes into this live stream, and I will always answer your questions, but I will 100% check out. Oh, Charlie finally put in there with the chat what I got. It still somehow doesn't give it away though. Well, it's not a secret. What I bought is not a secret to you guys, because you guys are my inner circle. You guys are my in the know people. If you show up to Skoolie Support, I will tell you anything, pretty much. So thank you guys so much for watching. SkoolieSupport.com if you want my help all the time with your bus builds. And we got fun stuff coming soon. Thank you guys so much for hanging out. I will bid you adieu and good night.